oasis. I don't care what nobody say. I'm gonna get mine. It's an oasis. Gail. Hope it includes me. The good plan. I'm used to this. It happened all the time with you. It's all good. Outstanding scoundrel. All about the bass, that bass, that bass, that bass. All about the bass, yes. You're amazing, Chris Dindy. He's gonna play the bass. We do what we do. we prepare, I would like to introduce to some and remind others of our amazing president of the board of First Unitarian Church, Amy Bottomley. Woo, we love her. She's bold, brave, beautiful, blessed, and all ours. Yes, she is. Yeah, we're blessed. If I can use that word, and I do, based on the God of my understanding, and whatever word you choose, do so. That's what I love about you. Do you. Yes. Yeah, I love Nina. Nina is real, y'all. She says what's in her heart. Yes, she does. Oh. Woo, sound like church to me. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish I could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree that everyone should be free. Well, I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do. Though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Well, I wish I could fly like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. Oh, I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. And I'd sing, 'cause I know, yes, I'd sing. 'Cause I know, oh, well, I sing. 'Cause I know, don't you know that I sing? 'Cause I know, oh well I sing. 'Cause I know just how it feels to be free. I know just how it feels to be free. It feels like you, and you better do you.
Thank you. Thank you, House Band. Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Cincinnati. My name is Barbara Bonney, pronouns she and her. I will serve as your worship leader today. I'm grateful to share this service with you this morning, both in person and online. Our church is a place you can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, and your expansive heart. We are a community committed to social justice and to supporting various spiritual and ethical paths of our members and friends. Our congregation was founded in 1830, and we have worshiped in this building since 1889. But we acknowledge that we occupy stolen land that is the ancestral home of the ancient earthwork and mound builders, and most recently, the Biamia and Shawnee peoples. This is an uncomfortable history and a tension that we must constantly recognize as we struggle with the implications of that profound injustice. If you would like to know more about our church or about the Unitarian Universalist faith, please contact us by emailing member-care@firstuu.com. For those watching at home, this email address is in the description of today's service on our YouTube page. Our congregation strives to be welcoming to all, so you will see signs for various accommodations posted around the church and listed in the order of service. Please ask our ushers if you have any questions. Our flowers today are from Julia Algemer, sharing the beauty of her garden. Before we begin our service today, please rise and greet your neighbor or say hi in the chat until I ring the singing bowl to bring us back together. First, though, let's wave to the people watching from home. I did. As a reminder, our annual congregational meeting is next week after the service. Childcare is available. Hope you all attend. As we light our chalice, I will share with you words from Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who lighted the flame within us. Please stand as you are willing and able to sing number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Around this time every year, we gather to bestow a blessing upon all of our children and adults who go to school. One of the blessings that I used to get as a kid when I went off to school was be kind. Do your parents ever say that to you? Yes? Be kind. What else might they say? Be what?
Respectful, responsible, and safe.
Ooh, be respectful, responsible, and safe. Yeah. What other be things might they say? Yeah. Be responsible. Yeah, I'm going to start writing some of these down. I wonder, let's see, we had kind, respectful, responsible, safe. I wonder if the adults in our congregation could give any B's to us. Just shout it out and I'll repeat if I hear you. Be careful. What else? Assertive. Loving. Loving. Honest. Curious. Yeah, we have respectful. Be good. Ooh, that's an interesting one. We've run out of room, I think. Those are a lot of B words, though. You know what blessing I want to bestow upon all of you, though? I just want you to be. Just to be. Be yourself. Be loved. I see many of you brought your backpacks today, and we have little bees here to remind you that it's okay just to be, and to be loved, and to be yourself, and be all these things. So I'm going to start, how about we start with our oldest? If there are any teachers or adults in school or getting a certificate or getting their GED, if there's anyone like that out here, will you come forward and you can get a B? There's your B. Woo! There's your B. Oh,
Sorry, some teachers behind you.
oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
And let's see, what about high schoolers? Do we have any high schoolers here? Yeah. And junior hires? Any junior hires? Not junior hire. I know one junior hire at least. There you go, Lily. And let's see, what about our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders? Yeah. And 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders? Oh yeah, we got a lot of those. And how about our kindergartners, the class of 2036? Here you go.
Realize I was not. I'm in kindergarten.
You're in kindergarten? Well, then there, take a B. Okay, and, oh, we got,
Can I take a... No, I live in Beechwood Elementary School.
okay, okay. And then how about our preschoolers? Any preschoolers here? All right, there you go, Isla. So many of you brought your backpacks here today. You can go ahead and put your B on your backpack so that way you can remember all year. Well, we can help you with that. You can remember all year just to be. And now, why don't you join me in your Sunday school classrooms? Yes, we'll do that when we get downstairs, okay?
Well, good morning, everybody. I gotta say, I'm going to introduce something new today, just a moment of silence after the children's recessional so that we can recenter ourselves. But before we do that this morning, I want to thank our house band this morning especially. So, Ramona, you nailed Nina. That was beautiful. And I could talk about every one of our musicians, but I especially want to call out Chris Dendy as a special applause today because due to a technical glitch, he just switched from the keyboard to the guitar without missing a beat. So thank you so much. Oh, he missed 2 beats, but still, it's a passing grade. So anyway, what I like to do after the youth recess is I like to just take some time, maybe 60 seconds, to sit in silence and maybe bring our attention back into ourselves because it has been out and about in the sanctuary for 20 minutes. So take this opportunity to just calm your mind, relax your body, take a few breaths, and come back into your own.
Share the Plate is for Ticken Farm in Mount Healthy. They have sent us this 4-minute video to explain their mission and work. Okay. Okay. So you might have seen it last week when it played. But if you are inspired to donate to Ticken Farm or to support the work of First Church, there are several methods of giving. These are listed in the order of service, and there are links in the description of today's service on our YouTube channel for folks watching online. Just click on More at the end of the sermon description. If you are visiting with us for the first time, please let the plate pass you by. We're just glad you're here.
Oh, life is bigger. It's bigger than you, and you are not me. The lengths that I will go to, the distance in your eyes. Oh no, I've said too much. I set it up. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much, haven't said enough. I thought that I heard you laughing, I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. Every whisper of every waking hour, I'm choosing my confessions, trying to keep an eye on you, like a hurt, lost and blinded fool. Oh no, I've said too much. I set it up. Consider this the hint of the century. Consider this the slip that brought me to my knees failed. What if all these fantasies come flailing around? Now I've said too much. I thought that I heard you laughing, I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. But that was just a dream. That was just a dream. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough. That I heard you laughing, I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. But that was just a dream. Try, cry, why, try. That was just a dream. Just a dream, just a dream, dream.
Energetic Sunday. Y'all are raising the bar on me. Hope I can jump high enough this morning. So another thing I like to do is I like to do short responsive readings during the services from time to time. And the readings I choose to do are usually readings that remind us about our own Unitarian Universalist history and experience. And sometimes I do responsive readings that are designed for a specific congregation. In fact, I'm going to be introducing a responsive reading based on our new covenant very soon, and you'll see that appear. But for this morning, ironically enough, after hearing REM lose their religion, we're going to do a responsive reading in honor of the world's religions. And so either in the insert, or we might have a slide for this morning, you will find the responsive reading. And I will read everything in the regular font, and if you would respond by reading that which is in italics, please. Mindful of our religious diversity and the prophetic call to shape the future, we draw our wisdom and inspiration from the world's many religions. Judaism, which reminds us of the ground of our being, the great I am. Christianity, which reminds us to love one another, even as we have been loved. Islam, which reminds us to remember God in all we do. Humanism, which reminds us to celebrate life for its own sake. Earth-centered traditions, which remind us to stay rooted in the source. Hinduism, which reminds us that we are part of the greater reality. Buddhism, which reminds us to practice compassion. And Taoism, which reminds us to live life in harmony. All right, thank you. Our next hymn is number 291, and there's a small German line in this hymn. I don't know if you know the hymn or not, so in case we don't know this one, the title of the hymn is the small German line embedded in the hymn, and you pronounce this, Die Gedanken sind frei. Die Gedanken sind frei, which means thoughts are free. So if you would, rise as you are able. Amen, amen, amen. So I mentioned a while ago, a couple Sundays, maybe 3 Sundays ago, that my formative religious experience was at a small breakaway church in Dexter, Michigan called the Christian House of Prayer. And for those of you who heard me mention that a couple of weeks ago, you probably remember me telling you a little bit about the Christian House of Prayer. They were a breakaway group from a Pentecostal church. But they considered themselves very liberal because they allowed women to wear pants and cut their hair. Yeah, and Brother George was very fond of standing up in the pulpit and going on for an hour about the unity of God. He denied the Trinity. He was a Unitarian and didn't know it. One of the things I loved about the place, though, is there were Sundays where Brother George, he was the minister, he would get up and he'd say, Sister Carol, his wife who played the piano, I think we're just going to sing today. And we'd sing for an hour and a half. And she'd play the piano and he'd blow his trumpet and everybody'd be singing their hearts out, man. Fantastic. Boy, could they sing. Well, one day, Sister Carol was really feeling the Spirit move her. And she wasn't known for having the best voice. So she's playing the piano, And she's wailing at the top of her lungs because she's feeling the Spirit. And it was just a little overwhelming. And there were a few of us in the congregation who were like, and we started laughing, and then somebody across the way started laughing, and before you knew it, the whole congregation was laughing, and Sister Carol's pounding on the ivory, wailing away, singing, and then she stopped cold turkey. She turned around and she faced the congregation, and she said, I know what you're all laughing at. You're laughing at the way I sing. Let me tell you something, folks. God gave me this voice. And if it's good enough for God, it's good enough for y'all. All right. So, from time to time, you will hear me say, we're going to sing in honor of Sister Carol. And that's my invitation to say to you, don't worry about how you sound. This is not a performance. This is an experience, an expression, and a communal participation. And if you think your voice isn't good enough, don't worry. The scoundrel next to you will drown you out. But sing, sing, sing. So let's start the sermon with a little bit of call and response. I'll sing a little bit and you respond, right? You know this one. Come, come, whoever you are. No, repeat. Come, come, whoever you are. Your turn. There you go. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. All right, now a little more volume. I know you can do it, but we'll just do it together one time. Ready? Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. All right. So we're just going to sing this morning. No, we're not. I'm going to talk. Some of you are like, oh my God, he means it. No, I got some mental grist for our mill. So one of the things I do is I'm part of a trio where I recite mystic poetry, and my two friends who are musicians play background music. And we call ourselves Mystic Coda. And we will be doing a performance here the night of October 21st. So mark it on your calendars. Because I love me my mystic poets, man. Rumi and Hafiz and Lala and Rabia and Attar. You're going to know who all these people are before too long. This hymn we just sang, though, did you know that comes from the words of Rumi? Did you know Rumi wrote a poem with these lines in it? It's a little different, though. Somebody who wrote the song took some translation freedom and changed it a bit. A more accurate translation is this. Come, come, whoever you are, heathen, idolater, fire worshiper. Come, says Rumi, come. Whatever you believe, come. Come, even though you have broken your vow 1,000 times. 1,000 times. That's a pretty serious scoundrel. Come. You belong in our fold, says Rumi, no matter your personal failings. You belong. Come yet again, come. You know, when we fail, we get a little bit of shame going inside. And we wonder if we should show up, if we should try again. Maybe I can't get it done. Maybe I really am a scoundrel. But Rumi says, don't do that to yourself. Come again. Okay, you broke your vow. Show up, make another commitment, come again. And if you break that vow, come again. Ours is not a caravan of despair. A lot of theologies in the world begin with despair. Because if they don't convince you you're in despair, or that maybe you're subject to original sin, how are they going to convince you they have something you need? See, if you begin in despair, if you begin as a sinner, we have the salve to cure you. That motivates people. That's not what Rumi's doing. Ours is no caravan of despair. It's a caravan of hope. It's a caravan of joy. It's a caravan of faith. That's beautiful stuff when you break it down, isn't it? Isn't that very Unitarian Universalist? No matter what you believe, you belong here, folks. Yep. No matter your personal failings, you belong here. As a parishioner of mine once said way back in the days when I was in Boston, the church is for sinners. You belong here, no matter your personal failings. All you have to do is be willing to recommit 1,000 times over and join the caravan of hope and faith and commitment. Beautiful stuff. So when we sing these hymns, we got to sing them like that stuff matters to us. The next time we sing that hymn, I hope you'll think of this. So, Rumi is doing something really radical here. I got to keep this near me because I got a few readings today. Rumi's doing something really radical here. He's echoing Jesus' ministry of unconditional love and radical inclusivity. I'm going to do a sermon, I think, 1st of November, somewhere around there, called Jesus' Fierce Love. And I'm going to make it really clear that if you don't understand this about Jesus, you don't understand Jesus. His ministry was all about unconditional love and radical inclusivity. But I'm not going there today. But in these words and in many of Rumi's poems, he echoes that message. And that message is a pushback against theology, which wants us to begin with the conviction of our depraved selves. That is heretical stuff in the time of Rumi. Conservative Muslims were putting people like Rumi to death for teaching things like this. They stoned one of his scribes to death. He lived in dangerous times, but he taught unconditional love and radical inclusivity, and he eschewed the theology of the day. And when I think about this, I think, what's really going on there with a Rumi? What's really going on there with the Jesus? They are taking the authority of religion out of the hands of the theologians and placing it inside of you. That's revolutionary stuff, folks. It ain't about pat theological answers. It is about you, who you are, and you becoming okay with being in the world. That's what Rumi's about. That's what Jesus is about. And I remember the first time I encountered this myself. So I was in divinity school, so this is a long time ago. I can't believe that was 35 years ago. I didn't think I'd ever be this old. The older I get, the younger everybody else gets. It's really cool. So 35-ish years ago, I was in divinity school, and I was taking this class, The History of Liberal Religion, a required history class on liberal religion for all Unitarian Universalists who were in ministry formation. And the professor assigned in this class, he said, you have to read Waldo Emerson's essays, especially Self-Reliance. Makes sense, right? Like, that's pretty cool. I'd never read Emerson, so now I get to read Emerson. So, class gets out, I trot across the square, I go into the yard, and I go into the library, and I pick out Waldo Emerson's collected essays, and I walk down Mount Auburn Street, and it was a crisp autumn day, and the leaves were turning. It was just an exquisite day. And I got to the Charles River, and I sat down under a tree on the banks of the Charles River. And I thought to myself, this might be as good as it gets. And I cracked open Self-Reliance. You ever read Emerson? Emerson's prose is so seductive. He was an awesome writer. He had a way of putting into words subtle, intuitive insights that he would have that are pretty universal. And so he could write them out, and then I would read them, and I'm like, this man gets it. He's speaking to me. Very seductive. So I'm thumbing through Self-Reliance, and the river's flowing, and the birds are flying, and the colors are blooming. And I'm in Self-Reliance for the first time, and I read this for the first time. You've all heard it, but remember the first time you heard it? To believe your own thought. To believe that what is true for you in your private heart is true for all. That is genius. I read that and I went, yes! You agree with that? Give me a yes. Yes! Yes, Waldo. Now, reading on. There comes a time in everyone's education when one arrives at the conviction that envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. Yes! Oh my God, for the first time, I'm like, this is amazing stuff. Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Yes! Right? I mean, I'm sitting there by the Charles River reading Emerson for the first time, and I'm like, yes, Waldo, yes, 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 yes. I felt like I was having my own theological when Harry met Sally moment, you know? I'm like, God, should I be reading this in public? This is a little much. It moved me so much. And then I finished Self-Reliance, and I had to keep reading. He's got an essay called Nature. Our age is retrospective. It builds the sepulchres of the fathers. It writes biographies and histories and criticism. And the foregoing generations who held God face to face, who lived in nature face to face, we behold God and live in nature through their eyes. And he goes on, why should we not also enjoy an original relationship to the universe? Yeah. Yep is close to amen. I'll take yeps. Why should we not have a poetry and philosophy of insight and not of tradition, and a religion by revelation to us rather than the history of theirs? Man, it's powerful stuff. The sun shines also today. There is more wool and flax in the fields. There are new lands, new people, new thoughts. Let us demand our own works and our own laws and our own worship. Yes. So there on the banks of the Charles, I lost my religion. It was a poignant moment. And that easy God of mine that I carried from the Christian house of prayer was gone. Have you had that experience? Losing your faith can be a really wondrous thing. And also painful. There's a man named James Kavanaugh who wrote this: I have lost my easy God, the one whose name I knew since childhood. I knew his temper, his sullen outrage, and his rituals of forgiveness. I knew the strength of his arm, the sound of his insistent voice, his beard bristling, his lips full and red with moisture at the mustache, his eyes clear and piercing, too blue to understand all. His face was too wrinkled to feel my childhood's pain. He was a good God, so he told me. A long-suffering and manageable one, so I knelt at his feet and I kissed them and I felt the smooth countenance of his forgiveness. But he knew too much to be real. So now he is gone, my easy, stuffy God. God the Father, God the Master, the God who offered love, bought by an infant's fear. Gone. So Kavanaugh's poem reflects the disillusionment those of us feel who have let go of the God of our childhood, or maybe sometimes even our adulthood. We wake up one day and we say, I can no longer relate. For some people, it's a wondrous thing. For me, it was a wondrous thing. For Kavanaugh, a bit more painful. I think what Kavanaugh is talking about is this experience when you reach a point in your religious journey where you begin to question the assumptions that the God that you worshiped may not actually be as relatable as you once thought. When is that moment? That moment might be when the person I experience myself to be doesn't really respond so much to that God anymore. Maybe I'm not good enough for that God. Or maybe the church is telling me that that God doesn't love the color of my skin, or my sexual orientation, or the fact that I can't rub two dimes together. And then you reach a point where you're at an either or. I either got to let all that stuff go and get myself back on the Procrustean bed of theology so that I can be brought back into conformance with that idea, or I can walk away and go into the mystery of life by myself and figure it out. Kavanaugh walked away. A lot of you walked away. And you found yourselves here. Reminds me of somebody in the first church I was in Massachusetts. Her name was Christina. And I was teaching a class one night called Building Your Own Theology. You all hear of Building Your Own Theology? It's a curriculum the UUA puts out for adults to sort of rethink your theology as an adult. And so I was conducting this class, and in that particular night I said, draw the God of your childhood and talk to us about it. So Christina drew the God of her childhood, and underneath it she wrote, God has long blonde hair, wears glasses, doesn't like boys, doesn't like peas, doesn't like to go to bed, and loves Sandy, her dog. And so when it came her turn to talk about her God image, her Sunday school teacher said, well, Christina, what did you draw? And she explained it, and the teacher said, Christina, you ever seen an image of God that looks like that? And Christina looked up at her, according to Christina, confused why this would be questioned. The teacher looked back down at the drawing and said, try again, that is not what God looks like. Come on now, a lot of you have been there in some other iteration. I've been there. I've been told how to think correctly about religious matters. So the next day she comes to my office and she's talking to me and telling me this story, and she's breaking down in tears again. I'm thinking, wow, to carry that 20 years inside of you. And then finally have a chance to express it. And what she was sharing with me is how happy she was that she had finally found a place where she could bring herself and her own ideas and understandings about God to church, and nobody would judge her, nobody would correct her. She found that religious freedom in Unitarian Universalism. But this story makes me think of the psychological toll, that we're willing to levy on our children in the name of religious conformity. We don't do that here, folks. Tell your friends and neighbors and adult children who have children, we don't do that here. This is the place for religious formation. But then there's Andrew's mother. I'll tell you the story about Andrew's mother. That clock's broken. I don't know. And we started a little bit late, right? So in divinity school, one of the requirements is, Dennis will know this, you have to take clinical pastoral education, which means before you know anything about being a minister, you got to go spend a semester in a hospital pretending to be a chaplain. Talk about throwing an unprepared doctor at an ailing client. But it's part of your formation, and you get mentored through it, and it's very much a learning process, and everybody has to do it. I entered CPE at the time when I had decided, in part thanks to Waldo, I don't think the Christian God's going to work for me. I just couldn't fit in that theological box. So I was beginning the ascendancy into my days of atheism. So I was in a God denial phase. And I got to walk into CPE and introduce myself to all my Christian counterparts and my supervisor. So when Unitarian Universalists do CPE, it can be a stressful experience because you're not singing the same theological tune as your classmates and your supervisor most of the time. They're usually Christian. So it was a bit of a struggle because I was working through my own stuff and I was pushing God away and I was trying to take this atheistic stance and explain to everybody who wanted me to have their God, why no, this is really cool. It'll be okay. So anyway, long story short, one day I'm making the rounds, and I don't know if you figured out about me yet, I'm a pretty intense player. So when I applied for CPE, I said, I want the children's oncology ward, please. That's what everybody said to me at the time. I'm like, what? That'll be nice, intense, deep experience. So I'm in the children's oncology ward, and I'm making my rounds one day, and I walk in, and there's this young boy sitting there with leukemia, and he wasn't feeling very good, and his dad and mom are with him, and I'm trying to talk to him and them and kind of learning how you do this with people who are going through such an existential crisis. But the boy was pretty quiet, even though I tried to engage him, and his dad said, hey, maybe this would be a good time to ask the Reverend all those questions you were asking me yesterday. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what am I going to say to this kid? But he wouldn't open up. So I escaped, and I left the room, and I went down the hallway, and I just went into another room for a minute to gather myself, thinking, one of these days, I'm going to have that conversation. And, you know, the rooms are divided by a curtain. So I walked to the other side of the room, and there's Andrew. Andrew has leukemia. And so I'm thinking, can't leave now. How you doing? And he looked at me and he threw up. And I said, well, that's a fine how do you do. And he found it funny. If you know people who've been through cancer treatment, chemo makes you very nauseous, and he was just not feeling well. And so, you know, I sat down on the edge of his bed, and his mom was with him, and I talked to him for a bit. He was a hockey player, you know. I talked to him about hockey, his friends, his family, his dog, and everything went well. I'm like, maybe I can do this and not have to do anything spiritual with these kids. So I started to say goodbye, and I got up to leave, and Andrew's mom said, anything you want to ask the chaplain? Parents. And he said, what happens? Man, to this day, 10-year-old boy says to you, what happens? And I think, I know, I will say, what happens when? Feigning like I don't know where this conversation's going. And he says, well, what happens when you die? It's tough to sit with a 10-year-old kid who's facing that question. But kids, you know, are very honest and direct. So he asked. And I sat down on the edge of the bed and I paused for a minute. Like a real minute, which can be a long time when you're a 10-year-old kid and you just ask the Reverend what happens when you die, and the Reverend's not giving you an answer right away. And I thought to myself, I can't lie to this kid. So I grabbed him by the hand and I looked in his eyes and I said, Andrew, I don't know. I don't know what happens. Nobody alive knows what happens. He didn't flinch. But Andrew's mom white-knuckled the chair she was sitting in and was looking at me. And so we talked more about the mystery of life and what comes next. And I said to him after a few minutes, I'll tell you what, man, I don't know what comes next, but I'll tell you this. I trust the universe. And whatever happens next is going to be okay. I trust the universe. And he was cool with that. And I got up and excused myself, and I started to leave. And Andrew's mom got up and followed me out the door. She was not a happy camper. So, you know, I'm sitting there on the other side of the door, leaning against the wall, listening to Andrew's mom, and she's going, how do you call yourself a minister? Yada, 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 yada. She wasn't done. Yada, 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 yada. Yada, 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 yada. Could almost write a tune to that. And I didn't have an answer for her other than, I have to be honest with your son. And I have to be honest with you. I don't share your theology. But I'll tell you what I think was important for your son just now. I walked out him on that religious high wire without a net. And we danced without a net beneath us. And he was okay. It's what he needed. And if I had said to your son, believe in Jesus, and when all is said and done, you will be welcomed into God's loving arms after you die, he would have sniffed me out. But I'll tell you what, we have not invented a lie detector as effective as children. And so that's where I got the metaphor that being a Unitarian Universalist is like walking on the high wire and dancing without a net beneath you. I got that from Andrew. That experience with Andrew. But his mom wasn't having it, and so I had to think about that encounter with his mom in the hallway for some time, like for a number of months, I kept thinking about this, and I thought, what should I have done different? And I eventually concluded I didn't need to do anything different. I did what I should have done. She wanted something from me, herself. It was as much about her as it was about her son. What did she want? She wanted those pat theological answers that give her some kind of grounding to stand in life. Because for a lot of us, we can't face the direct, honest truth about the existential reality that we face when we get tossed into this world, and we have to figure it out. A lot of us like having those religious answers to those existential questions. Where did I come from? What am I doing here? And where am I eventually going to go? Religion provides those answers. It's a ground of being she can stand on, to quote Paul Tillich. Judaism tells us what? Genesis, you are made in the image of God. This is where you come from, God. And Christianity tells you what? When you die, you go to heaven. And there are so many iterations about the meaning of life, from Buddhism to Sufism to humanism to paganism. That's what religion does for us. It gives us these religious answers to these existential questions that can calm our existential angst, give us a ground of being from which we move through life. That's what she was after. And that's what she thought her son needed. And I didn't deliver the goods, and that's okay. So, let me wrap this sermon up by saying, then what in the world does Unitarian Universalism do for you if it doesn't give you answers to these existential questions? Why y'all sitting here listening to me tell you I don't have any religious answers for you all? You're here for a reason. Do you know what it is? There are a number of reasons, but here's one of the principal reasons, I think. Somewhere along the line, all of us here realized that religion isn't about what I think about the universe and the world and my place in it. It's not about all that theological stuff. There's something deeper and more important that religion is about. And what that is for us, because we don't have patent theological answers, what is that about for us? That is about a way of being in the world, not about a way of thinking about the world. That's what Unitarian Universalism is. It's a way of being in the world. To quote Paul Tillich again, we tell you the ground of your being is you. Not theological notions. And the ground of your being is you. 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 Not everybody wants that. It's a courageous journey. And because the ground of your being is you, only you can decide what is the meaning of your life and what you think about it all. So, to quote Paul, the Apostle Paul, we must work out our own salvation as Unitarian Universalists. I can't hand you your ground of being. You are your own ground of being. But you have an opportunity here with other people who are doing the same thing in their own skin, to enter a community based on a covenant we have with each other. Not John 3:16, some theology I can quote and you all go, amen. Although I may quote it from time to time, there's some value in it. That's not what you're doing here. You're here with everybody else who's doing the same thing as you, in covenant with one another, to support each other on our spiritual journeys, with the hope that occasionally on Sunday I'm going to give you meaningful grist for your mill. I don't have the keys to the car. I have stories and insights and experiences that I can share, and sometimes they'll speak to you and sometimes they won't. But that's up for you to decide as you work out your own salvation. Do you realize what a rare and wondrous thing that is in the religious world? There aren't many places you go to have a religious home where they say, well, you figure it out. They got their scriptures, they've got their teachings, they've got their preachers, they've got their ecclesiastical authorities, they've got their denominations, and they hand it to you. That's what's common. Our religious freedom, where we work out our own salvation, that is rare. And so we enter into covenant with one another to support each other on these journeys. And that's what it means to practice religion without a net. It's not for everybody, but it's for some. And I think it'd be for more if they knew about it. Don't we do a great job of letting people know about the wonder of religious freedom they can experience in our Unitarian churches? The answer to that is a resounding no, by the way. We do a lousy job at that. But that's another conversation for another context. I want to end with this. I want to get us back to the theme today and bring us back to John Kavanaugh, who I think at the end of the poem I read earlier, there's more to it, at the end of it, I think he distills this message in just a few lines when he writes this. Perhaps I have no God. What does it matter? What does it matter? I stand in the heavens and on earth, and I feel the breeze in my hair. I can drink to the North Star, and I can shout on a bar stool. I can feel the teeth of a hangover, the joy of laziness, the flush of my own rudeness, the surge of my own ineptitude. And I can know my own gentleness as well. My wonder, my nobility. And I sense the call of creation. I feel it swelling in my hands. I can lust and love and eat and drink and sleep and rise. But my easy God is gone. And in his stead, the mystery and the loneliness of love. Amen? Amen. How about little Tracy Chapman?
Mama told me, 'cause she said she learned the hard way. Say she wanna spare the children. She said don't give or sell your soul away, 'cause all that you have is your soul. So don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have
is your soul. I was a pretty young girl once. I had dreams, I had high hopes. Married a man, he stole my heart away. Gave his love, what a high price I paid. All that you have is your soul. So don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of the bitter truth. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a word of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Why was I such a young fool? Thought I'd make history, making babies was the best I could do. Thought I'd made something that could be mine forever. Found out the hard way, can't possess another. All that you have is your soul. So don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. I thought I could find a way to beat the system, make a deal and have no debts to pay. Take it all, I'd take it all, I'd run away. Me for myself, first class and first rate. All that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Here I am, waiting for a better day, a second chance, a little luck to come my way. Hope to dream, hope that I can sleep again, and wake in a world with a clear conscience and clean hands. All that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a word of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Oh, my mama told me, 'cause she said she learned the hard way. She says she wanna spare the children. She said don't give or sell your soul away, 'cause all that you have is your soul. All that you have, all that you have, all that you have is your soul.
Teaching. Be ye lamps unto yourselves. Be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves. as to the only lamp. Now, please join me in reading together the words that will appear on the screen as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment that we carry in our hearts until we are together again.